Early indications after the Xbox Activision deal was blocked by the CMA were that Sony was celebrating. They were actually celebrating, thinking that Xbox was dead, thinking that Microsoft was finished, that was the end of it. Now, we for certain don't know where this will end up. It could take another year before we find out. Obviously, there is going to be some back and forth, and I'm hoping that it goes into a positive way for Microsoft, because I don't see how the hubbub over 5,000 concurrent people being able to stream is a big enough reason to block a $70 billion acquisition to make things even out a little bit more between these two companies, when PlayStation has a 70 to 30% edge over the Xbox brand. So I'm hoping for the best, because we've always gotten the best, the most innovation. Let's look back to when we got like the most amazing games, right? And I think the most innovative games was the Xbox 360, PS3, Wii era, right? And I'm not even a huge Nintendo person, but look, Nintendo did their own thing with the Wii. They were kind of forced that way by Sony with the PlayStation 2 to go in a different direction, and they gave us something really inventive. Even if you don't like the controls or whatever, it was inventive. They gave us some of the best games, the Mario Galaxy games. I think they also gave us some really cool stuff and some innovations with Wii Sports. There's a lot of stuff there. The Mario Kart game was really well done. There was a Smash Brothers game. There was a lot of cool stuff on that platform. The fact that Microsoft came out early, brought us stuff like Gears of War. We got stuff on the Xbox 360 that we didn't think possible at that time, right? Think about it. Because it launched early, because the PlayStation 3 was difficult to develop for. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Saints Row, Call of Duty 2 was Xbox 360 platform exclusive. There was so many great games, and that forced Sony to come out and do a lot of great exclusives, and they did. You know, they did a lot of great exclusives, especially towards the tail end, and that was when we were getting the most of everything, right? Like, we were getting the most game. Third parties were nailing it. Everybody was nailing it. Now Sony thinks Xbox is dead. Is Xbox dead? Well, you know what? I think that's kind of a weird thing to kind of contemplate, especially since they're still going after this, and most analysts are in agreement that Microsoft is in fact going to go after other studios. Even if this fails, they're going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to go after other studios. They're going to be able to go after other companies and other games, and I think that's going to be a cool thing. For me personally, if you ask me, what would I have liked to see? I think I would have liked to see them get Square's Western divisions, get Crystal Dynamics and those companies, and make, you know, since it's pretty clear that obviously Square doesn't want the license or whatever, does that mean that Microsoft, if they would have bought them, maybe could have had rights to do a decent Avengers game or Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and make it exclusive? Something to really go out there and shake up the industry. Obviously, Tomb Raider can be on par with The Last of Us, could be on the par with Nathan Drake and Uncharted. Microsoft could have done that, and they also could have spent money and put Call of Duty in Game Pass, right? Like, maybe money talks, so maybe they could do that. Maybe they will do that. Maybe they'll go a different route and pick up some other studios. I'm not sure 100% what they're going to do, but Sony likes to gaslight their own audience. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so they gaslight their audience. They tell everybody what their worst fears are, right? So if you ask an average PlayStation fanboy, especially on like social media, okay, so what is your big fear? Would you like Sony to do a Game Pass type thing where they put games on their platform day one on their service? And all of them are like, no, I wouldn't like to do that. I like to buy my games. I definitely buy my games. I like to do that. I like to support the devs. I like to buy the games and support the devs, right? That's what they say. Funny thing is, playing a game on Game Pass supports the devs too. They are not doing that for free. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart, folks. They're getting paid big money to be on Game Pass. Now, the funny part about this is that the way that people think these things work is utterly ridiculous. They think that the quality would go down. Oh, well, the quality would go down. And why do they think the quality would go down? Because Sony told them it would for some strange reason. Now, here's basically how this stuff works. Games are costing more than ever to make. You're talking $200, $300, $400 million, maybe even more, to make one big AAA game. Now, a game has to sell an incredibly large amount of copies to make that back, and sometimes they do. But by the time you factor in everything, they're not making much after the first, 6 months to the year. They're not making a bunch of money. Whereas if you have a service that's also available, like Game Pass, that's a continual source of income, of a billion plus each quarter or whatever, and that's crazy. So I tried to tell people this. At 30 million subscribers, at $15 each, $450 million a month, it is $5.4 billion a year. Okay, that's a lot of money. And that's just with 30 million. People are like, oh, they'd have to get hundreds of millions to make that sustainable. But they don't. If 30 million does that, then 60 million would get 11 billion a year, right? So it's not this incredibly difficult thing the way that everybody is talking about it. And the more interesting thing here is Game Pass has almost quadrupled player numbers for Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. As much as PlayStation fans like to swear up and down that they love these type of games, it's only sold 1 million total across all platforms, but has 3.8 million players, right? So Wo Long Fallen Dynasty has been one of the biggest Game Pass launches of this year, with millions of fans going hands-on with this game. Now, it's not my type of game. I'm not into Souls-like games. The team has just provided an update to numbers which show how much of an impact Xbox subscription services had. The developer has announced that Wo Long Fallen Dynasty has sold 1 million copies worldwide. However, if you add Game Pass users into the mix, Koei Tecmo has seen 3.8 million players get stuck into the action slasher, almost 4 times its out-and-out sales numbers. That 3.8 million number includes player across all platforms: Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PC, Game Pass. It's an impressive total, and the developer will no doubt be delighted at the mix of strong sales and a high amount for subscription players, because it has a built-in subscription player base right there. Again, this is what I'm talking about. These are the types of things that can change a game. Yes, there are some games that, maybe won't see this type of reaction or this type of player base, but this is why what Sony's saying is so wrong. Absolutely wrong. And, again, it's funny to me that at a time when Sony has admitted that for the next fiscal year, which is March 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, which basically a full-on year, they're only going to have one AAA first-party exclusive that entire time, and that game is going to be Spider-Man 2, and I think that's going to be a big game. I think it's going to be a great game. But when you look at what's going on with Game Pass, why do so many people think it's a failure? Like, we see another instance. High on Life reaches 7.5 million players. Squanch Games title launched last December and was the biggest Xbox Game Pass release of 2022. This is huge news. Listen, 7.5 million players. That is an insane amount of people. That is an insane amount of players. The biggest launch of 2022 on Game Pass. Again, I'm not saying that that's a good game. I downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to play that yet. This is just something that is undeniably huge. Like, Game Pass is undeniably huge. The way that people kind of make it out that Game Pass or Xbox are somehow failures or that they can't do this, that's propaganda. That's terrible stuff. I feel so reinvigorated by what's going on with Xbox right now. It has reinvigorated me on this channel. It has reinvigorated me the way that I want to talk about games. Like, honestly, if I had more time to talk about these games, I would do it. As some of you might know, if you frequent the channel, I actually cut down on the amount of content that I put out. I can't podcast. Maybe this summer I'll be able to do a little bit more, but right now, I just want to get it out there, man. There is good news for Xbox. There isn't all doom and gloom. There is honestly so many great things going on with Xbox right now. Game Pass is great. Regardless of the Activision outcome, I think Xbox is going to forge ahead and do some incredible things, and that is an exciting prospect. Again, I'm happy to kind of call out some of the hypocrisies. Like last year, all the Sony fanboys were all about first-party games, first party. If you would have brought up, hey, High on Life, that game is huge, the biggest launch on Game Pass, they would have said, who cares, it's not a first party. But then this year, when Sony's got one in the whole fiscal year, first party AAA. Everybody wants to quick and point out the third party stuff. So don't feel bad if you also feel a little bit stupider after conversing with a PlayStation fanboy and you hear them move the goalpost back and forth because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I've yet to meet, again, I would love to meet the PlayStation fan, the honest PlayStation fan that's out there that could tell me, hey, you know, you're right. This is a down year. This is what I'm looking for. A PlayStation fan that can say, you know what, you're right. It's a down year for the first party. Microsoft's first party is outshining them this year. Congratulations. You know, or, you know, something along the lines of, it is ridiculous that they sold us this PS5 and for 2 years they've given us 0 first-party announcements in terms of a big showcase, and that's ridiculous. That's what I'm looking to see. I hope to hear that from a PlayStation fan sometime soon. Let me know that if that's you. Sound off down below. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews. Please remember to like the video and rack 'em up.